that is, why do we fall ill? Now, as the topic suggests, we should understand in this the concepts of health, the concept of diseases. If you see the effects of the earthquakes that has happened in the Latur, Bhuj, Kashmir, also the cyclones which has happened, or the tsunami and all, what are the effects of this? These all cyclones or earthquakes are having some or other effect on the human health. So in this chapter, we will be seeing the connection between the various natural calamities and the personal as well as the community hygiene, and what is the connection between the various aspects, that is the environmental, physical, mental aspects which are affecting the person's health all over. So this is what we will see in this chapter, that is, why do we fall ill. Now, if you see that health and diseases which are there, they are very complicated issues and they are interconnected to each other. If a person is not healthy, not well, that means what? That means the person is suffering from some or other illness. Either he is mentally, physically, or emotionally, or socially not well. A person is very aggressive. That is also a sign that he or she is not well. That means he is having some or other stress, because of which his aggression is coming out. If we say that my grandmother is not well, that means what? The grandmother which is there, she is unable to perform her regular activities. She is not able to go to the market, or she is not able to do her work properly. She is not able to get up from a place properly. So these are things which are there. They are nothing but the signs or symptoms which indicates that something is wrong with that person. Also, if we see that the person who is not having a proper personal hygiene, he or she will be also suffering from some or other disease. And the personal hygiene itself, which is there, it affects the community hygiene, and ultimately the community hygiene affects you. So these are all the things which we have to consider. Also, if you consider your body, it is made up of the various cells. Cell is nothing but it is called as the basic structural as well as the functional unit of life. Now we call it as a basic structural and functional unit because the cell which is there, it is made up of the various nutrients that we take. We take the carbohydrates, fats and proteins from the food we eat. Now if we are eating a particular food for a particular nutrient, then that nutrient which are there, they are ultimately going to your cells, and the cells are being formed. The various parts of the cells which are being formed with the help of these various nutrients. These nutrients enter inside your body. They form the cell membrane. They form the various organelles like the mitochondria or the Golgi apparatus. These are all being formed. The proteins which are there, they are structural as well as functional. If you consider the proteins which are there in your hair, they are the structural proteins. And if you consider the proteins which are enzymes or the hormones, they are the functional proteins. So these all proteins which are there, they are functioning and they are also having a particular structure, or they also form a particular structure. So these proteins which are there, we eat the proteins, they are being degraded or they are being broken down, and then the various proteins which are required by your body or by your cell, they are being formed. So cells, in that also we have the different types of cells. Now the various types of cells we see, they differentiate, they grow and they differentiate, like they form the heart cells, they form lung cells, they form the kidney cells, all are having different functions. The cells of the muscles which are there, the smooth muscle cells which are there, they help in doing certain voluntary and involuntary actions. The cardiac muscles which are there, they are doing the involuntary actions which are not under your control. The heart pumping which is there, it is continuously being going on. But if any of this cell which is there, the continuous functioning of the cell which is going on, that is the cells, when they cells can multiply, the cells become they multiply and they differentiate and form the different cells, they repair continuously, some or other thing is going on inside the cell. But if the functioning of any of the kind of cell which is being stopped, then ultimately it affects whole of your body. For example, if you consider the kidneys, the cells of the kidneys, that is the nephron which is there. Nephron is called as the functional unit of the kidney. It is involved in the filtration of the waste. The nitrogenous waste which is there, it is thrown out with the help of the kidneys, and this is done basically by the cells which are called as a nephron. So nephron which are there, they are filtration unit. They will filter the waste, that is the waste which is there, it is given out in the urine in the form of waste, and the useful material which is there, it is being absorbed. There are three steps in the process of kidneys. The three steps are nothing but ultrafiltration, then selective reabsorption and tubular secretion. So in the selective reabsorption, what happens is the cells which is there, it will absorb the nutrients which are required by your body, and when the nutrients are taken up, they will be given into your body first, they will be circulated into your body. But sometimes when the functioning of the kidney is not happening properly, for example, if the kidney is not doing proper filtration, the poisonous substances which are there, they are accumulated in your body and they are present, they will be absorbed and they will be present in your blood and ultimately in your whole circulatory system. Now these poisonous substances which are there, they will be affecting the functioning of the brain. So ultimately, if the kidneys are not working properly, that means if they are not absorbing the nutrients properly, then the poisonous substances will get accumulated and these poisonous substances will affect the brain. The brain is the main center. If brain is not working properly, that means your body functioning, all the coordination of your body which is done by the brain, that will be not done properly, and then ultimately you will be suffering from diseases. So this way, these kidneys which are there, a single organ which is affecting the functioning of all the other organs. So these all activities which we do, they are interconnected to each other. So when when the person is drinking a lot of alcohol or doing a lot of smoking, that person is ultimately, his health is affected some or other way, and then that person, we call it as an unhealthy person. So idea of being a healthy person is nothing but a person being well, a person being socially, physically and mentally well. That means he is very good at his activities, he is doing his work properly, he is socially having a very good relations, he is healthy, he is wealthy as well, he is physically also fit, having good physique, good looks and all. So these are all the things which we consider when we say that a person is healthy. And when we say that a person is not well, that means the person is suffering from some or other infection. He must be having some or other problem. Either he is mentally disturbed, or he is not physically, it doesn't look in his physical features that he is well. So these are all the things which we have to consider when we are considering about the health or a healthy person. So health is nothing but a state of being well physically, mentally as well as socially. These all things ultimately are affected by the personal as well as the community hygiene. So we have seen the significance of health. If a person is not healthy, if a person is aggressive, he will be suffering. His social life will be disturbed, and if his social life is disturbed, then ultimately his mental state of mind will be disturbed. If his mental state of mind is disturbed, his eating habits will be disturbed. That means he will not eat properly, or he may get stressed, and because of which he may not have a healthy diet or healthy food. So these are all things which are there. If he is not having a healthy food, unhealthy food if he is having, then ultimately the stomach will be affected, and if the stomach is affected, then the other organs which are there, they will be not functioning properly, because ultimately when you are having a food, you are having the nutrients which are required by your body, and if the nutrients are not taken up properly, then the whole system of your body will be disturbed. So this way, health is an important aspect which we have to consider, and the person, to be healthy, he has to be healthy from all the aspects. From the physical being, that is, his body should be physically also fit, then it should be socially fit as well as mentally fit. He should not have any stress or should not have any abnormalities in his mental health as well. Then the personal and the community issues that we need to discuss, they both matter for health. If personal problems are there, the person will be affecting the society, and if the society is affected, then ultimately it will affect the individual back. So this is a cycle going on if the personal hygiene is not maintained. For example, if you consider people living in a society, and there is a water flowing outside. If we are throwing garbage, if a particular house or the particular family is not maintaining their hygiene, they are throwing garbage anywhere. That garbage which is there, that will be there. The organisms will grow, the bacteria and all the germs will grow in that particular area. These germs can also lead to the growth of the mosquitoes, or there can be the stagnant water there. If these germs are there, the mosquitoes will grow, and then mosquito, if they are growing, then these mosquito can cause malaria. It can be an epidemic also. It can spread to that particular society, and ultimately if that particular society is affected, the whole income source of all the families will be affected. If that income of all the families is affected in a particular society, it may happen that a particular person who is working for a particular organization as a head of the particular organization, if he is suffering from some or other disease, then that particular organization will also suffer because of his health. So these are all the things which are connected to each other, and the hygiene which is there is a very important aspect if we consider the personal as well as the community. So when we are maintaining our personal hygiene, then only the community hygiene will be maintained, and ultimately the community which is there, it will be community hygiene which is there. If it is maintained properly, then the whole society will be healthy and wealthy. So this personal as well as community hygiene, it really matters for the society. The person should be healthy. It should be he should think of himself as well as about the society, because ultimately this is a cycle going on. It will affect you also, and it can affect your whole family also. Then what is the difference between the healthy and a diseased person? When we consider a person to be healthy, that person is well in all his activities. A healthy person will have a very good communication skills, will have very good presence of mind. A healthy person will have a very good physical health. He will not be suffering, he will not have pain in doing things. He will not be, doing a big task is a very easy thing for that particular person. So that time we call that person as a healthy person, because he is physically, mentally as well as socially well-being. His presence of mind is good, his mental ability is good, he is not suffering from diseases, his physique is good, his looks, his texture of the skin, his hairs, all are good in quality. So these all indicate that the person is a healthy person. And a diseased person, a diseased person will be suffering from some or other disease, will be having some or other problem always. He will be complaining about some or other thing. He is not happy with his own life and will be having many negative aspects, will be aggressive by nature, will be socially not well, will be mentally not fit. He will not be able to complete his task on time. So these are all the concepts which we consider an unhealthy person, or a person who is having disease. That person will be that. And if disease free means complete. There is a difference between healthy and disease free. Disease free means that person is only physically fit because he is having a proper food. But healthy means he is healthy from all his aspects, from socially, mentally as well as physically. And disease free means only the infections are not getting into that person's body. That means the pathogenic attack which is there, he can resist that attack, and no pathogen can affect that person. That time we call that person as disease free, because his physical fitness is good. That's why that person is disease free. His immunity or immune system is functioning well, and then we call it as a disease free. But there are people who are disease free but still they are not healthy, because their social activities are not good, their mental activities are not good. So this is the difference between the healthy and disease free. When you call a person as healthy, that means he is healthy from all the aspects. And we call it as a disease free, that means only the pathogenic attack or the physical health is not affected. So this is the basic difference between the healthy person and a disease free person. So these are all the things when we consider this chapter, why do we fall ill? These are all the things, or the links between what is our concept of health. We should think what is health, and we should focus on each and every concept of health, and then only we can understand what is a health and what is a disease free person. A healthy person will be healthy from all the aspects, and a disease free person will be only disease free. He is not suffering from any disease, he is only having a good health, a good physical health. Then we call it as a disease free person. And healthy person means he is free from every negative aspect of life. So this is the basic difference between the healthy and a disease-free person.
No more spending your energy and money on coaching classes or missing classes for rain, for rally, and any other nonsense. Subjects covered by multiple teachers with repeat telecasts. Doubts, concepts, applications, no problem. All explained through great and significant animation. So sit back comfortably in your home and watch Study Spectrum TV channel.
So the next thing that we need to see in this chapter is disease and its causes. What are diseases? What does a disease actually look like? That we will see. Then what are the acute and chronic diseases? That we need to see. Chronic diseases and poor health. Why does chronic diseases will lead to poor health? That we will see. And the next thing that we will see is the causes of the various diseases. So what are the causes of the various diseases? Why the diseases are formed? So that also we will see in this chapter. Now diseases and its causes. So what does a disease actually look like? What is a disease? Let us see more in this. We have already seen what is a disease, what is the difference between a diseased person or a healthy person and a disease-free person. If you consider more about a disease, we first have to focus on the various parts of our body and the various tissues of our body. These tissues which are there, they are formed, and the cells which are there, they grow, they multiply, they differentiate, and they form the various tissues. These tissues together, they will form the organs, and organs will form the organ system. For example, a cardiac cell will form the heart. The heart will together lead the heart and the the various vessels which are there, arteries and veins which are there, and as well as the lungs. These all come under the circulatory system. Why lungs also come, I'll tell you that. Lungs which are there, they will helping changing the deoxygenated blood to the oxygenated blood. So hence the carbon dioxide which is there, it is given out in the lungs and the oxygen is taken in. So the deoxygenated blood is converted into oxygenated blood, and that's why we consider the circulatory system which is made up of the heart, the lungs as well as the various body parts and the veins which are there. So these veins and arteries which are there, they will be helping in circulating the blood. So the function of all these organs, it is nothing but circulation of the blood and giving nutrients or providing nutrients to the various body parts. For example, also if you consider the digestive system, the various organs of the digestive system, like there is the esophagus, there is mouth. The mouth will help in taking the food inside. We will chew the food. The mechanical digestion is done with the help of the teeth. There are various different types of teeth also. There are 4 types of teeth. The incisors which are there, they help in breaking the food. There are canines which help in tearing of the food. Then there are molars and premolars which will help in making the bolus of the food. Along with that, the chemical digestion starts with the help of the enzymes. Now, the salivary enzymes which are there in the salivary amylase which is there in the saliva, which is secreted by the salivary gland. Now, this salivary gland is also considered as a part of the digestive system. Now, this salivary gland will secrete the saliva. It will help in chemical digestion of that, and then the chemical digestion will start. The mechanical digestion is already done by the teeth, and then the food goes into the esophagus. Now this esophagus which is there, it is a food pipe which helps in transferring the food from the mouth towards the stomach. The food pipe which is there, it does the peristalsis, that is alternate contraction and relaxation. Now this peristaltic movement is specifically done by the food pipe, especially to help the food to go from the mouth towards the stomach. So this is again a function which is done by the digestive system, by the part of the digestive system, and the esophagus is again a part or an organ which is involved in the digestion. Then it goes to the stomach. There the stomach which is there, it has the cells which are called as the goblet cells, which helps in producing the mucus, it helps in producing the gastric juices. The gastric juices includes the HCl. The HCl which is there, it helps in killing the bacteria. If by mistake any bacteria has entered inside your body through the food or through the oral route, then the HCl which is there, it will show its acidic activity and it will kill the bacteria. And if the pepsin which is there, the breakdown of the proteins, that is the chemical digestion has to be there. Initially the large molecules are broken down into the small molecules by the mouth, and then the small bolus which enters into your stomach. Again the digestion of the proteins, it starts into the stomach where the gastric juices like the HCl which is there, it helps in breaking down the proteins, and the HCl which is there, it helps the pepsin to break down the proteins. The pepsin is the enzyme which acts only in acidic condition, and hence HCl is produced by your stomach. So this dilute HCl or hydrochloric acid which is produced, it helps in the action of the proteins. It also helps in killing the bacteria if by mistake it has entered into your body, or any germ which has entered into your body, that can be killed by the HCl. So this gastric juices along with the mucus, along with the various things which are there, that helps in the digestion. Then when the food enters into the small intestine, simultaneously the pancreatic juices as well as the juices from the liver, that is the bile juices, they enter inside your digestive system. Now these various juices which are there, like the pancreatic juices, they help in the breakdown of various other nutrients like the protein, like the starch as well as the fats. Liver which is there, it helps in emulsification of the fats. So these breakdown which is there, it is done with the help of the various juices which are produced by the accessory organs like the liver and the pancreas. These are all the accessory organs which are again connected to the digestive system. They will secrete certain juices and helps in digestion. Then the absorption will be done by the villi of the small intestine. These villi which are there, again they are made such that they will help in the function of the absorption. And then if the absorption is done, and then the large intestine which is there, it helps in absorption of the water. The water which has to be there in the body, the dehydration should not happen, or large amount of water should not be lost. So this absorption which is there, it is done with the help of the large intestine, and then finally the undigested food, it goes into the rectum, and then through anus it is thrown out of your body. So what we have seen in this whole digestive system is the various organs doing the various functions of digestion. Consider any functioning of the body, organ of this particular digestive system is affected. Anything. If the liver is affected, you know that the liver produces bile juices, and if there is excess of bile juices or excess of bilirubin, then it causes jaundice. So ultimately the jaundice which is there, it will affect your body, and you will have the various signs and symptoms, like there will be yellowing of your eyes, your nails, and your blood completely will be yellow. Then there are chances that you will be having excessive vomiting, excessive dehydration, loose motions. These are all the symptoms that we see. So these are changes which happens into your body. These are nothing but when the functioning of a particular part of your system is affected, then only these symptoms can be seen. We can see the various symptoms, like there will be vomiting, there will be pain, there will be headache. These are all the symptoms that we see, and then we think that the person may suffer from disease. May suffer means there are chances that the infection is there, or there are chances that it can be because of the different activities or some or other functioning of the body has been disturbed. So this functioning of the body, when it is disturbed, it can cause the various symptoms. For example, if you consider headache can be there because of the exam stress also. This headache can be because of heat. It can be because of some other reasons. It can be because of the meningitis or because of the cold. So there are various reasons for the various symptoms. But the various diseases which are there, that we can find with the help of the symptoms. So when we show a particular symptom, we go to a physician if the symptom is not getting cured. The symptom is not being for a particular period of time, we can bear it. If the body is not able to bear, we go to the doctor. We fall ill and then we go to the doctor. The doctor will see the symptoms. He will see that a person is suffering from headache, then vomiting, loose motions. He will find out what is the ultimate cause of it, and then he will prescribe you the medicines accordingly. So there are various symptoms, and the various symptoms are connected to the various diseases. Like I have told you, headache can be just because of the exam stress also. It is not necessary that the headache is because of some diseases, or it can be because of some harmful or some infection into your body. So these are all the reasons why we see the various symptoms, and if the symptoms are there, we will go through the symptoms, we will find out what is the reason for these particular things, and then we ultimately come to a conclusion where we'll understand whether the person is actually suffering from a disease or it is just a symptom because of some other reasons. So these are all the disease. Actually, we should consider that disease is nothing but an unnatural thing happening into your body, and it can be because of the functioning which is being disturbed. This functioning, it can be for a short period of time. Disturbed functioning, it can be for a short period of time, or it can be for a longer period of time. If it is for a short period of time, it can be cured then and there, and if it is for a longer period of time, it will have a prolonged effect on your body and will be affecting your functioning of the body for a long period of time. So there the next topic comes is nothing but the acute and the chronic diseases. If you consider a disease, the persistence of a disease or the type of the disease is basically we have to see based on the time or the duration for which the disease is lasting. For example, if the disease is lasting for a short period of time, then we call it as an acute disease because it is affecting your health for that particular period only. It may happen that because of the cold and cough, you are at home and you are not going to school for particular days, and after that particular period of time, the disease is cured. Cough and cold will not last for longer period of time. It will be cured within a short period of time, and then you will have your normal activities as you do it regularly. But a chronic disease which is there, chronic diseases like the tuberculosis, if we consider, these diseases which are there, they last for longer period of time and they have a prolonged effect on your body, and it will ultimately lead to your body stress, and ultimately your functioning of your regular functioning which is there, it is affected for a longer period of time, and sometimes it can happen that it is for a lifetime. For example, AIDS and all which are there. AIDS is nothing but it is the syndrome which can affect each and every organ of your body and will allow the opportunistic pathogen to attack your body. And these opportunistic pathogens which are there, they can cause the various diseases, and because of this, the person will be suffering from some or other disease over his whole life, till whatever lifespan is there, or based on his immunity, his lifespan will be decided, and till the death of that particular person, he will be having some or other infection. So this is nothing but it is the effect of the chronic disease. So the next topic that we will see here is the chronic disease and poor health. So chronic diseases are basically responsible for the poor health of a particular person. For example, if a person is suffering from tuberculosis, as I told you, he will be having prolonged cough and cold, and if the cough and cold it is lasting for more than 3 weeks, then we have to go for various tests. Then we do the diagnostic test and we find out we take the X-ray of the chest, then we take the sputum test, the sputum which is coming off during coughing, that we take, and that cough which is there, they test it for the acid fast bacilli, that is the bacteria which is causing the tuberculosis. If that particular bacteria is found, then the person is suffering from the disease, and then that person who is there, the disease will not be cured within the short period of time. He will have to take a long course of treatment is there, and even if the treatment is done, there is no guarantee that the person will be completely recovering from that disease. So this tuberculosis which is there, it is having a prolonged effect. We will have it will be affecting your studies, your ability to learn, your ability to attend the lecture or the class will be reduced, and then it will ultimately affect your health, and overall whole of your body will be affected. Your appetite will be lost, your eating habits will be changed. You will not feel like eating, you will not feel like doing various activities. So ultimately when our body is not functioning properly, it will lead to poor health, it will lead to unhealthy state of mind, unhealthy social well-being, unhealthy mental well-being. So completely the health which is there, it is being disrupted because of the chronic diseases which last for a longer period of time. They affect the organs. Acute diseases do not get that much time to affect various organs. For example, the cough and cold or the headache, these are all the small things which are happening to you, and they can be cured within a short period of time. But the chronic diseases like the tuberculosis, AIDS, cancer, these are all the diseases which will be affecting you for a longer period of time, and the organisms which are there, or the chemicals which are there, they get time to affect the various organs. So various organs can also be affected, and if the various organs are also affected, the whole system of your body will be disturbed, and ultimately you will be having a very bad health, and it can also lead to death. So this is all the chronic diseases. Various causes of the various diseases that we need to know. There are various causes for diseases, not only that the infection which will be there are other environmental factors, physical factors. These are all the factors which will be affecting a person, and they can cause a disease. So let us see the causes of the disease. One example I can give you is, suppose a person or a child, a baby is suffering from loose motions. We will find out why the loose motions are there. The person, we can also think that the baby may have a wrong harmful drinking water, or because of that child is suffering from the loose motions. So these loose motions can be because of the drinking water, can be because of the food. And drinking water is not good, then maybe more than one baby should suffer from disease. Like same drinking water, if 2-3 babies are having, then they should also suffer from disease. But only that baby who is suffering, why that baby is suffering from disease or suffering from infection. This indicates that the baby is not having a good health or a good immune system. The other babies which are there, which are drinking the same water, they can be having a good immunity, and because of which they are able to resist from the particular virus and the virus or bacteria. And the baby who is suffering from the disease because of that particular virus or bacteria, his immune system is not working properly against that bacteria or against that virus, because of which he or she is suffering from loose motions. Now again we can think that why the baby is not having a good drinking water. Then we can think of the community where he is staying, and in that particular area, if he is not staying in a good hygienic area, there the water facility is not proper, and because of which he is not getting a proper water, and when he is not getting a proper water, he is suffering from the infection. So these are all the reasons. Again, if we consider why that particular person is poor or not getting proper food, then there are again environmental factors which are affecting them. They can be not economically or financially fit. So if they are not financially fit, again we can think of his family background. His family is not earning properly. Why they are not earning properly? Because again they are not healthy, and they are not educated, and they are not getting proper food and shelter because of these reasons. So there are various reasons which are connected to a particular infection. Only if you consider the loose motions which is happening to a baby, it can be because of the various other factors also. So these are all the things which we have to consider, and the causes of the diseases can be multiple. It can be because of the infection, it can be because of the mental stress, it can be because of the emotional imbalance, it can be because of the social life, it can be because of the poor health, poor facilities, and it can be because of the economic condition of that particular person. So the various causes of the diseases are so on. These are all the causes. So we have seen that what is a disease. We have seen what is acute and chronic disease. The disease which is for a short period of time, that is called as acute disease, and the disease which is for a long period of time, that is called as the chronic disease. Then the chronic diseases and poor health, as I have told you, that chronic diseases which are there, they stay in your body for a longer period of time, and ultimately that infectious agent which is causing the disease gets time to attack on various other organs also, and hence it attacks the various organs and affects the overall health. That's why chronic diseases are much more harmful as compared to the acute diseases. Acute diseases has short effect, but the chronic diseases which are there, they have a long-term effect on your body, and hence they lead to your poor health, and ultimately it affects whole of your system. And the causes of diseases, as I have told you, there are environmental causes, there are immunity. The immunity of that person can be less. It can be because of the poor health. It can be because of the economic condition. So it can be because of the bad habits or poor hygiene of that particular person also. So there are various causes for the diseases. So let us see the next topic, that is the infectious and non-infectious causes. I've told you the infectious causes, given you the example of the child who is suffering from loose motions. The loose motions can be because of the drinking water, it can be because of the food or the unhygienic food that the child is having. Now this water, drinking water, there are chances that the drinking water may contain virus or it may contain any bacteria which is causing which leads to loose motions. But if the same water is being drinking by many children, then there are chances that all of them should have the infection. But if the child who is suffering from the infection, the immune system of that particular child must not be good, he must not be resistant to that particular virus or bacteria, and because of which the infection is being infecting the only child which is having loose motion. So this way, we should think of each and every cause in detail, and then only we'll come to know that why these things are happening. We have seen the various other causes like the poor economic health, the unhygienic lifestyle of the person, and the various other causes which can cause the diseases. So not only the infectious, but there are again other agents which can also cause the infectious. So we will see the infectious and the non-infectious agents. For example, if you consider the common cold which is there, it is caused by a virus. The name of the virus is rhinovirus. This virus enters into your system and then you get the cold. But the other infections like the cancer. Cancer is again a disease. It is not an infection, it is a disease. This disease which is there, it can be caused because of some carcinogenic agents like the chemicals. It can be because of some genetic abnormalities. High blood pressure. High blood pressure can be because of the extra body weight. It can be because of the lack of exercise or poor eating habits of that person. So the agents may not always be the same. The agents may not always be the infectious agents. There are other agents like the chemicals. There are other agents like the physical fitness of the body. If the person is not doing proper exercise, then he or may suffer from high blood pressure or low blood pressure or whatever. So these infections which are there, they can be infectious as well as non-infectious. Sorry, the diseases which are there, they can be infectious as well as non-infectious. When it is caused because of some germ or parasite or bacteria or virus, then it is called as the infectious disease. And when it is caused by some other factors like the chemicals, the genetic abnormalities, the food habit, the eating habits, these are all the factors which are non-infectious, and hence they are called as the non-infectious diseases. The non-infectious diseases are non-communicable. That means they will not be transferred from one person to another. But the infectious diseases which are there, they are communicable and they can be transferred from one person to another. Usually microorganisms are the major source for infectious diseases, and these microorganisms, these can spread from one person to another and can easily pass the disease to another person. And that's why infectious diseases which are there, they are more harmful as compared to the non-infectious diseases. There are various ways in which the spread of the diseases can be seen. So that we will see later on. Now we'll focus on the various infectious diseases and infectious agents. The various infectious agents that we can see here are, it can be because of the bacteria. The bacterial diseases like the cholera, typhoid, anthrax, tuberculosis, alright, TB. These are all the bacterial infections. Then protozoa is another type of microorganism which can cause the diseases. The protozoal infections like the amoebiasis, malaria is a protozoal disease. Then another protozoal diseases like Kala Azar, Trypsonoma, this trypsonoma is again a protozoal disease. Then we have viral diseases. The viral diseases, the most commonly found HIV, which is a viral disease. Then common cold. The diseases which are caused to the plants also, like the tobacco mosaic virus, which will cause the disease to the tobacco plant, and so on. So these are all the diseases by the virus. Then there can be fungal diseases. The various skin infections which are caused by this fungus. It can be the ringworm. Also, if you consider various worms, they can cause the various infections like the roundworm, ascariasis, so these infections which are there, they are caused by the various agents like the bacteria, protozoa, virus, fungus and algae are also responsible for the various skin infections. And the worms which are there, which infects your stomach, they can cause the stomach infections like loose motions. There can be harm to your any organ in your stomach. It can be in the small intestine, can be in the large intestine, inside your stomach. So these are all the infections which are caused. If you consider the bacterial infections like the cholera, it is cholera which is there. This is caused by a bacteria which is called as Vibrio cholerae. Typhoid is the infection which is caused by the bacteria Salmonella typhi. Anthrax which is there, it is caused by the bacteria which causes anthrax. And then TB, tuberculosis, which is there, it is also caused by a bacteria which is called as the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Then protozoal infections like amoebiasis, which is caused by the amoeba. Malarial infections, malarial parasite which is there, that is also called as Plasmodium malariae or Plasmodium vivax. There are various species of that particular protozoa. Kala Azar diseases which is there, it is caused by the Leishmania protozoa, and this causes the Kala Azar. And then Trypsonoma which is there, it causes the sleeping sickness. HIV infection, HIV is the virus which causes the AIDS. And then common cold which is there, it is caused by the rhinovirus. TMV, tobacco mosaic virus, it infects the tobacco plant. Ringworm which is there, which can be seen on the skin. So skin infections which are caused by the fungus. And then the worms like the roundworms which causes the intestinal infections, ascariasis and all. So these are all the various infectious agents which we will see in this chapter.